Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Topoco Lodge. They are closed for winter upgrades for the next few weeks, but their main lobby is still open. So if you drive by there, check the place out, grab a coffee, sit by the fire, and book your springtime visit now. This place fills up fast. They're going to have weekends in February after Valentine's Day. Their big reopening is in March. Go to topoco.com to learn more about their schedule and to book your rooms in advance. Topoco Lodge. Let's quickly go to the graphic and you will see Tennessee's schedule from 2018. The gold names are kind of the wins. ETSU, UTEP, win at Auburn, very good, finished 8-5. Beat Charlotte, who wound up 5-7. That was an ugly, ugly win. Beat Kentucky, who wound up 10-3, and beat Penn State, which I didn't expect to see. I think we asked this when we were doing sort of the pick segment, if we were putting too much emphasis on the fact that Tennessee beat Kentucky, and that's why we all thought Penn State would kill them. I think in hindsight, yes. But you see the losses. You lost to West Virginia. They wound up losing to Syracuse, and Dana Holgerson's leaving. Florida finished 10-3, beat Michigan. Georgia finished 11-3, but they lost to Texas. Alabama currently 14-0. They beat Oklahoma. They still got Clemson to play tomorrow. South Carolina routed by Virginia. Finished the season 7-6. I think that loss looks worse. Missouri lost to Oklahoma State. They still finished 8-5. Vanderbilt 6-7. Bowl game on the line. You lost to them. They finished with a losing record, and they lose to a Baylor team that had basically destroyed their roster after all their timeline stuff. To me, we'll see if you guys agree or disagree. The Kentucky win looks a lot better. That's the best win on the schedule. Worst loss on that schedule, Vanderbilt. And I would say South Carolina's next to me. Your guys' thoughts. Did these games impact your view of the season at all?
I'm going to agree with you that the Kentucky win, I think, looks better after they beat Penn State. I still think the Missouri loss to me is still, just the way you lost to Missouri,
Hammered, yeah.
Makes it bad.
50 on you.
South Carolina at the time, that was a bad loss because you had played well. So
and you had the lead. Yeah. I look at that, guys, I think your most impressive win is at Auburn, especially the way Auburn just destroyed Purdue.
I think that's a fluke.
It still happened.
It did happen, but if you play them 10 times, let's see if you guys agree with this. If you played Kentucky 10 times, you beat them 10 times. There was no question in that game down here. If you play Auburn 10 times.
But to go on the road in the SEC at that point in the season,
okay.
I just see the most impressive win as being at Auburn.
All right, his most impressive win was winning at Auburn 8-5. I think the most impressive win was beating Kentucky 10-3. Mike, where are you going?
Kentucky.
Well, I think it just underscores that the Auburn and Kentucky were both really good wins, and it doesn't really the Kentucky win was so good, Tennessee ought to make a video of it. How about that?
That's about all they can make a video of these days. Josh, where are you going?
Yeah, I would lean Kentucky. I think Tennessee caught both at a good time. Auburn was teetering there, and to Auburn's credit, turned things around as the season went along. Kentucky was coming off that loss to Georgia, so the SEC East hopes for Kentucky. But to Tennessee's credit, it took advantage of both spots.
In terms of the bad losses, the Vanderbilt loss.
It's a bad one.
That's a terrible loss.
Yeah.
Terrible. With everything that was on, even after Missouri and South Carolina, you still had a bowl game on the line, and they're running it up late.
Yeah, Tennessee looked awful. Just awful against Vanderbilt.
And then they go out and suck against Baylor?
Didn't take defense with them. And that's the one thing you thought Vanderbilt would be able to do in that game was play defense.
And I put Missouri up there not because Tennessee lost to them. It was just the way that they lost to them to be non-competitive.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
Vanderbilt, you played awfully.
I think Missouri's a better team than Vanderbilt or South Carolina in hindsight, but still. Losing at home.
Vanderbilt felt like a full no-show by Tennessee.
Yeah.
Missouri, you have the injury early to Jarrett Garantano, which might have carried over to the Vanderbilt week, but that was a really bad final stretch.
Yeah. All right, very good. I thought I did think, though, that it made a couple of those losses look worse.
After you look make at that ETSU win look better? That they went to the
FCS playoffs. That's terrific. Be like beating Alcoa and saying, "Hey, that's a mistake." All right. When we come back, well, a little later, are Alabama-Clemson? Is Alabama-Clemson bad for college football? I've heard that a lot this week. We'll ask these guys. But also next, what the Bowls taught us and what the Bowls told me about Jarrett Garantano and this past year's Vols team. I'll tell you, coming back.